A woman, while stepping out of her home, is startled to find that the main door is completely sealed by a mysterious black wall. At first, she assumes it might be some kind of prank. However, when she and her boyfriend Jack start looking for other exits, they discover that all the windows in the house have also been sealed shut. With Jack on the verge of being late for work, he throws himself against the wall with all his strength, only to realize that the black wall is solid and indestructible. Sa. Desperate to escape, they try to call for help, but find their mobile phones have no signal. Even more bizarre, whenever the phone gets close to the wall, the screen experiences heavy interference. The girlfriend quickly becomes frustrated and takes out an electric drill in an attempt to break through the wall. But even as sparks fly from the drill bit, the black wall remains completely unaffected. With no other option, the couple starts drilling holes into the apartment walls, hoping to find another way out. Despite creating multiple openings, they still find no sign of escape. Just as they are about to give up, they hear sounds coming from the neighboring apartment, a faint sign of life that reignites their hope. They quickly begin drilling toward the source of the noise and eventually create a small hole through which they see their neighbor, who is equally panicked and trapped behind the same kind of black wall. To make things worse, they discover that water and electricity have been completely cut off in the entire apartment. They begin to suspect that someone is deliberately trying to trap and starve them inside. In a burst of anger, Jack throws his phone at the black wall. After cooling down, he notices a strange white patch has appeared where the phone hit. Upon closer inspection, he realizes it's a piece of the phone indicating the wall may function like a massive magnet. To test this theory, they bring over various metal items which immediately stick to the wall, confirming it has a strong magnetic field. As they continue testing the wall's magnetic properties, they discover that the strongest magnetic field forms a strange square shape. Before they can investigate further, all the iron items suddenly start to vibrate and then fly back toward them violently. Jack barely manages to shield his girlfriend, but ends up getting his back pierced by sharp metal fragments. His girlfriend treats his wounds, and afterward, they both sit down to strategize their escape. Suddenly, loud arguing is heard from the neighbor's side again. Concerned, they look through the hole they had drilled, and upon hearing screams, they quickly begin breaking through the wall to reach the neighbor's apartment. Since they're not well acquainted with the neighbors, Jack cautiously enters with a wooden stick for protection. Inside, they find the bedroom floor covered in blood, and the female neighbor is seen trembling on the floor in terror. And before they can speak to her, the male neighbor suddenly ambushes Jack, pinning him down and pressing a stick against his throat. Just when things are about to turn deadly, Jack's girlfriend uses pepper spray, neutralizing the attacker. The female neighbor rushes over and explains that her boyfriend didn't mean to harm anyone. He had only reacted violently because she had been banging against the wall earlier, and he accidentally hurt her while trying to stop her. Realizing it was all a huge misunderstanding, the group regains composure and begins working together to find a way out. Jack searches the apartment and finds a heavy iron hammer. Without hesitation, he slams it against the black wall, but the impact is so strong that it leaves his hands numb while the wall remains undamaged. At that moment, Jack's girlfriend, who happens to be an architect, recalls something important. The apartment building was constructed in 1897, and she had read that an air raid shelter was built beneath it during construction. She hypothesizes that if they keep digging downward, they might be able to reach the underground shelter and escape. Motivated by this idea and knowing that time is running out, especially with no water left in the apartment, Jack immediately picks up the hammer and starts breaking through the floor, aiming to dig toward the potential escape route hidden beneath the building. They soon manage to break a large hole through the floor. After yelling down and confirming that no one is below, Jack uses tied bed sheets to climb down. Just as he descends, he encounters an elderly man wearing an oxygen mask. The old man panics and orders Jack to leave, accusing him of trying to steal his supplies. In such an apocalyptic situation, the old man believes that resources mean survival. Fortunately, his granddaughter convinces him to calm down and consider joining the escape plan. Despite his grim view of the future, predicting that they would turn on each other over a sip of water within 3 days, the old man reluctantly agrees to cooperate. The group begins hammering the floor again, pushing forward with their escape mission. The old man's granddaughter reveals that when she went to the bathroom at 3 a.m., everything was still normal. But by morning, the black wall had already sealed every exit. While inspecting the damage, Jack notices something strange about the smoke detector that fell from the ceiling during demolition. Upon closer inspection, he discovers a hidden camera inside the detector. Jack immediately checks another detector in the kitchen and finds the same thing, another hidden camera. Suspicion turns to fear. They realize that someone may be watching them, and this entire nightmare could be orchestrated by the landlord. The group becomes convinced that they are unwilling participants in a sadistic game designed for the entertainment of some wealthy elites, with the landlord acting as the game master. When they learn that the landlord's apartment is right next to the old man's, they break through the kitchen wall and enter the landlord's unit. To their horror, they find the landlord dead, and both his hands are missing. The sight terrifies everyone and confirms that something far more sinister is going on. In a rush to escape, they continue demolishing the old man's floor and eventually break through to the underground level, reaching a heavy iron door that supposedly leads to the air raid shelter. But just when they think salvation is within reach, they discover that the same eerie black wall is blocking the door from the other side. The male neighbor snaps. In a fit of hopeless rage, he begins smashing the black wall with the sledgehammer. The sound is deafening, causing everyone intense headaches. The elderly man intervenes by pointing a pistol at him, managing to de-escalate the situation temporarily. But before anyone can relax, the male neighbor seizes the gun and fires at the black wall. To everyone's shock, the bullets freeze mid-air just a few centimeters before hitting the wall. Then, a loud, vibrating hum begins to emit from the suspended bullets. Jack, recalling the earlier incident when metal objects were violently repelled by the black wall, immediately realizes something terrible is about to happen. Some of the younger members react in time and save themselves, but the elderly man is too slow. One of the bullets violently rebounds, piercing his chest and killing him instantly. The black wall reveals its horrifying nature. It's completely impervious to all forms of damage and can even reflect bullets. When a bullet bounces off and kills an elderly man, the group fully grasps the danger they're facing. With all exits sealed in their apartment building, they're forced to retreat upstairs to rest and regroup. Inside the apartment of a deceased tenant, they stumble upon a remote-like panel. Jack cleverly blows flour on it, revealing a hidden passcode. But instead of opening the black wall, the remote unlocks a secret room. Inside, they discover a wall of surveillance monitors. Watching the footage, they witness how the black wall formed overnight and even see a tenant dying on the floor. But while they're busy with the monitors, a bearded man sneaks up behind the granddaughter of the old man who had died. When the group rushes out, they find her already murdered. She had been burning something in her hand. Realizing the bearded man may be behind the sinister events, the group works together to tie him up. This finally gives them time to study the mystery of the black wall. Jack finds that the dead tenant had been researching a strange program. After transferring it to his own phone, 4 white square icons appear. As Jack touches each icon, the black wall begins to transform. The female neighbor, thinking it might be a portal, reaches her hand inside. But when she tries to pull back, she realizes it's stuck. Before she can react, she's sucked in by a powerful force. The others try to rescue her, but are only able to retrieve the top half of her body. Witnessing his girlfriend's gruesome death, the male neighbor breaks down emotionally. He shoots the bearded man in a rage, then turns the gun on himself. Only Jack and his girlfriend remain. Determined to escape, they return to studying the 4 icons on the phone. By comparing the flashing patterns from the phone with those seen in the surveillance footage, they manage to deduce the correct sequence to deactivate the black wall. Just as they're about to enter the code, the bearded man, who wasn't quite dead, suddenly revives and attacks. Jack's girlfriend quickly kills him with an axe, allowing them to proceed. The couple finally escapes from the black-walled apartment complex. But as they emerge into the outside world, they're horrified to discover that every building outside is also surrounded by the same eerie black wall. While the cause remains unknown, they're relieved to breathe fresh air again. The story ends with the two driving away in a small car, free for now, but far from safe.